Welcome back, venturers. It's time for another discussion about VNs. I am MR, and together with Tauros, we bring forth the April Readport. But not just any April Readport. Oh no. This time is the Readport Nitro Plus edition. Since last month, Readport, we've uncovered that Tauros might actually be fan of Nitro Plus titles. What do you have to say for yourself, my dear co-host?
We'll see how it goes, but Muramasa has been a very interesting read so far. But more surprising to me, I didn't know you'd also be checking out some Nitro Plus titles, and what's going on with you and Tokyo Necro?
Yes. Finally, after God knows how long, because I have bought this game on Premiere, on Just, and I just kept pushing further and further and further in the backlog, saying, sometime. And that time came now. Whoa, where to start? Tokyo Necro is a title by Nitro Plus that takes place in somewhat distant future, about 200 years from today, in 22nd century. Ice Age has come about, and with it the whole environment has turned upside down. It's cold outside. Countries got reduced to nothing more than city-states, and the most valuable resource has become energy, more specifically the heat. Pipes run all over Tokyo, forming a very grotesque kind of picture, almost vine-like. It's like veins in your bloodstream, right? This setting is so sick. The Necro part comes from the titles talking about humanity's newest creation in biological warfare are ways to use dead to do the killing. Hence you have the Tokyo Necro together, right? Since that kind of technology has been deployed and people specializing in such arts became necromancers, it became necessary to create countermeasures. You know what? This title specifically explores that kind of, in some ways, race of sorts, of how one kind of group of people and the second group try to counter them and or forbid from using necromancy, just race through technology and who kind of one up another group. Like, honestly, that's an intoxicating back and forth arms race in this story. I kind of was immediately hooked. I'm like, yeah, please, more of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sometimes, obviously, they come with some bullshit futuristic thing, sure, but it was entertaining, I gotta say.
Yeah, a sci-fi title that utilizes necromancy, something that's usually fully in the realm of fantasy. That's a very interesting angle to go for, especially once you factor in the part about, disposable bodies for warfare, and then you start thinking of the class distinctions itself. There's a lot of world building that can go into this, right? Does Tokyo Necro live up to it?
Exactly, and please let me finish on the Necro part, and we'll get to another part of what you say about class division, because that's also plenty here. But I want to stress out how, despite being something not very well understood and having that kind of mystique on it, necromancy isn't magical in nature. Everything is explainable in a future tech kind of way. They can bullshit a reason from futuristic sci-fi ideas, but it still works. It's still technology at the end of the war. In this case, more on the biology and viruses. It can take over with the control system. Like, super cool to see. But now, going back to what you alluded to, due to the fact the setting takes place in a living city and there's plenty civilians going around their day, that is presented in a neat way. You see different group of people and influential groups taking hold of some districts and parts of town. And among those that live there are a hierarchy of haves and have-nots who managed to establish themselves with a profitable business. Maybe they are part of the government that is tasked with controlling in this case, this is a funny nomenclature. The re-killing of the dead. There is no killing something that's dead, and that's by law classified as re-killing. Like, that's so cool. And due to that duty, they have some privileges, and they tend to live in a well-heated places, which is, again, a status symbol because you have plenty of heat to go around. You won't freeze to death.
Mm-hmm.
This being so crucial in the city's prospering. So there's a lot to do when it comes to city infrastructure and specifically its maintenance, okay? So for those arachnophobic readers out there, beware, because there's plenty of spider bots that repair damages all the time.
Ooh, spiders.
Which adds to that unsettling, horror-esque setting that this provides. Like, this is something you could reasonably see in the future, how this kind of society develops, this kind of city tries to live the best they could. But there's so much grotesque things going around. It's like, wow, it's chilling in a way. Man.
Yeah. What kind of genre is Tokyo Necro? I didn't know much about it. I always just assumed it was some kind of action sci-fi-ish sort of thing.
I feel like action sci-fi suits it the most. It's sometimes feel bizarre for me to classify because I don't want to obviously spoil too much, but the moment you open the game you have some zombies, some of which are rain for skin, so it's harder to kill, and that kind of starts the chain of necromancers trying to one-up agencies that are specialized in re-killing the dead. And at some point in the story, maybe even you have flying zombies, which is super bizarre out of nowhere. I feel like sci-fi with thriller and or action suits is the best when it comes to genres.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of all of that, especially on the action part, one notable thing that puts it uniquely on the map from other VNs is that it has plenty of rendered 3D models and a lot, and I mean a lot of action scenes have highly detailed movement. Sometimes it's from first person. You see literally the protagonist holding a gun, shooting, and his arm going all over the place, trying to headshot all the zombies because that's the most effective re-killing method. But then it can pan out from outside, and instead of how a traditional VN would give you a CG, with maybe some sparks, maybe some sound effects, no, you have fully rendered 3D models going at it and fighting. I was surprised. This is weird. It's not the perfect graphics, maybe not the ideal, but you know what? It's good enough. It is quite impressive. I'm gonna hand it to them.
Mm-hmm. Impressive.
All the fights, especially as you can imagine, the confrontation of this is the final boss, 1v1, you and me. Those are phenomenal. All of them are so interesting to see all those characters clash with the 3D models instead of, describing that through text on a static CG, which is the usual approach by majority of VNs. Right now you have a 3D models that actually move around, use their moves, clash. Things are flying and it's high paced. I think I vibe with that. I was pleasantly surprised with that.
Oh, nice. I know for visual novels, you can often get away with leaving the action as the moving sprites on a screen, and then put in a CG or two to make it the really hype moments. But to go above and beyond for any sort of 3D models or animation, that's really what can take visual novels to the next step up. That's really, it borrows some of the strengths of other mediums like animes or movies even. That's the kind of thing that where visual novels are so great, they can borrow some of the strengths of others.
In a weird way, this reminded me of how School Days was a VN that was it was pretty much everything animated, and it felt different. Obviously, it was janky in places because it felt sometimes like the motion were very limited and or there were very convenient zoom ins not to animate too much in
Well,
school days.
There's no unlimited budget.
Exactly. The only unlimited things is unlimited blade works. So here, there were so many cool fights that, in my opinion, were highly enriched by the fact that you had constantly changed environment. You had environmental damage because the protagonist jumps on a pipe, but the enemy that is literally zombie Spider-Man uses his webs to ensnare him. Like everything are happening all the time. Man, it was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
With all that said,
yes.
all that innovations, I have the weirdest gripes. I have the weirdest things I need to vent out. Here it comes. Who the fuck designed the menus?
The menus?
Those are so... The UI is so wacko. So, Towers, imagine you are playing a VN. I assume you're not as strong as to finish a single VN in a single sitting. Sometimes you may actually close the game.
Yes.
Before doing that, I would also reasonably assume you're saving your progress.
Yes, that's pretty normal,
right?
Yeah.
So far, so good. Now, okay, you quit the game, you open it again another day. How do you load the game? A reasonable person would assume you click on a load button. In the menu, there is no load button. So your options are either question, which is very weird option in it of itself, or H memory. And I'm like, what's going on with this menu? With question, an option in the main menu, being obviously, as all things do go, when you click question, it starts the new game, which is obviously what I think about clicking question, right? I have many questions now. And now with starting new game, you can immediately cheat by clicking escape to go to the main menu inside the game and then go to load options from there. What is this? If you click on the H memories instead, what you think about maybe H scenes or something, what you are opened with, in my case, which was for the majority of the time, is empty screen. And in bottom right corner, you have a hypercube. You have to keep rotating to find your save file. Who made that UI? Is it by aliens or what?
We couldn't just have... So two things. Number one, you can't just call it start and new game and load and stuff. We got to be cute
Apparently.
With the names. And then the other thing is that apparently, like you're saying, instead of a scroll wheel or just multiple pages like every other VN in the world, you have to rotate a cube? That's right?
Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And don't worry, they help you with directions because every side of the cube is marked. So for your information, if you want to load, you click on the side that says Y. Not X, not Z, you need to side Y. Even the side couldn't be called load or L. I guess I take the L for that one. What the fuck? This is so weirdly convoluted. Yeah, the user experience was something else, okay? It definitely elicited emotional response for me, that's for sure.
Not a good kind of emotional response.
No, not really. But again, maybe they tried too hard with that. They tried to cook with a lot of innovation. In this particular way, they kind of overcooked.
Well, I mean, if that's like... Is that one of the worst things you could say about a title? Is that their UI was a little funky at first? I would be happy with that, but, you know, was your experience with Tokyo Necro better, hopefully?
Well, ultimately, the biggest gripes of mine were the weird UI navigation thing. There's more problems. I'll give you one more example. There is a function that lets you skip scenes. So instead of you skipping dialogue, you can actually access a skipping scenes, right? So you can open the menu. It's called preview, obviously. As you skip scenes, you click always preview, and then it starts skipping scene forward. And I think you would reasonably assume you will get a button next, previous, so you can navigate. But instead of that, it goes automatically, and you need to catch a scene you want to interact with before it goes away. Okay. So again, weird UI. Going back to my gripes, honestly, another weird gripe of mine. I don't think I liked all those characters very much. I don't want to spoil too much about them, but the group of people that you as a reader are following, they are all come from it's called Living Dead Stalker Agency, specialized in re-killing the dead. And specifically outside in that group, you have two protagonists. One is female Efika, and the other is a guy, Soun. Both of them are so weird to read, and at times were so painful. I don't know. Something with those characters just did not sit well with me. And I just obviously don't want to spoil specific story reasons, so I don't want to spoil anybody, but I just don't vibe with characters that like to throw accusations and insults out of nowhere, especially when they are unfounded. And Efika was exactly that. It was loudmouth girl with personality of shitting on everybody.
And is she supposed to be a kind of character intended to be liked, like a heroine or like one of your
I guess
co-workers or something?
Yes, and her defining feature was insulting everybody and having daddy issues. And I'm like,
because like if a villain does that, then that's understandable. Because like the whole point is to piss you off to a certain degree. But I mean,
you know what? Fair. That's fair. That's true.
But there's still a right and a wrong way to piss off the reader. Because, like, you want to piss off the reader so that you get revenge and get back at him. The bad kind is you want to piss off the reader into quitting and dropping the VN.
Exactly. And while I did personally like her, it's not to say that I didn't felt, how can I say it, compelled by some of the story beats that she's involved with and some troubles and tribulation that she goes through. Okay, those were pretty nice. I gotta admit, she had some opportunity to develop. Whether or not she achieved that is a question for another day. But ultimately, I just don't know. Please pass on insulting the other protagonist of being a loser for the 7th time for a thing he didn't do. Please. As for the male protagonist side of things, he was bogged down by a very early life experience that was, again, something that I just don't want to spoil, and that became his whole personality. I just don't know. I didn't vibe with it. There was one character I really loved. It was the katana-wielding samurai. All her fights were amazing, and her character was super hilarious to see unfold because she was a super steadfast, super serious, professional stalker. And sometimes, because she was so prideful, she got cornered very easily by someone who could outmaneuver. Like, oh yeah, no, I don't need payment. I need a payback. That's what she claimed. And another person that is involved in the confession can say, oh, you don't need payment? Okay, we'll take all the rewards. You can kill the main boss. And she's like, but I need money too. Okay, that was hilarious how people exploited her naivety and her demure of being a super proper someone. That was so I love that character.
That's always fun to tease. That's always fun to see a heroine who's super straight-laced and serious to get teased and to immediately fall apart.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a very, very cool side character part of main group that was a sniper obsessed with numbers. I actually like that guy. That guy has had a very, how can I say, realistic reaction to a lot of things. And the amount of times he facepalm at the sight of other people fucking around, like, okay, I understand you're a pain guy. I get you.
Every comedy scene needs the straight man.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. So ultimately, I really love this game. Possibly this is an MR Core kind of title with huge encyclopedia I spent way too much time on, and a lot of world building. I love that one.
All in all.
One thing.
Oh, one more thing.
I want to end on one thing, because I don't know if I've completed it, because throughout the entire story, I had only encountered 2 choices, one each for each protagonist. And while one of those choices were a dilemma from kind of from a superhero movie, like, will you kill the villain or will you save someone in need? And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And the other choice was, will you go upstairs or will you go downstairs? I'm like, the fuck? And that's it. That's all the choices I got. And I guess I'm on the downstairs route. Weird. Although, it's interesting how the choices were delivered and the mechanism at which you had an opportunity to choose them, because that's a super intriguing part of this story. How, in order to fight the dead and develop countermeasures, one of the important technologies is to have a helmet that functions as your second brain to help you process situation faster and analyze situation. As a result of which, it projects pop-ups that are suggestions, like dodge left, quickly turn right, something like that. So it hones your instincts. And it's super interesting because choices became the prompts. I'm like,
As in, like, the helmet would offer 2 suggestions for what to do in the course of battle, and you'd have to pick one of them for your character to follow?
I'm not sure. I think actually the opposite, as in you, the reader, got an opportunity to choose which prompt would be displayed for a protagonist.
Ah, okay.
So that's a very interesting device. Not sure how much I should read into that. Let's say it like that.
Okay.
It's a very unique way of presenting that choice. So I'm like, Overall, I really like this title. I'll probably return to check out what's upstairs, I guess. Maybe everything will change. Maybe nothing. I guess. We'll see.
Who knows? But that's good to hear that overall you enjoyed it. When you have some titles that are on your backlog for ages, and you finally get around to it, sometimes it just can't live up to all the expectations you've built. So I'm glad to hear that it mostly worked out.
Yeah, and it was a very interesting story. It was. I don't really read that much stories that are kind of noir-esque, in which you are a detective, and it wasn't definitely a story about heroes. How about you, Taurus?
Yeah. As for me, I'm continuing on my path to read Full Metal Demon Muramasa. At this point, I've gone through the whole Nemesis route, and I've gone through most of the hero route. I'm not finished with it yet, but pretty soon. Overall, I'm still very much enjoying Muramasa. Enjoying it way more than I thought I would. I mentioned before in last Readport how my vibes for this VN was that it was going to be a very wordy, slow-paced, agonizing period piece of the Japanese swordsmanship and one-on-one duels and honor and waxing philosophic about the merits of killing in battle and all of that. I thought it would kind of be a drag, even if other people really enjoyed that stuff. But instead, Muramasa has been some of the fastest paced material I've seen out of any VNs. It's incredible that my playtime is somewhere around like 40 hours by now, but man, it all felt like a breeze. There is so much stuff that happens in Muramasa pretty quickly that it's sometimes my biggest complaint is that this stuff is too fast-paced. It's like, I really think that there are some parts that we could have slowed down. We could have taken a breather and really, enjoyed the scenery a bit more before we moved on into the next plot beat. And that's crazy to say out of something that's I've already put in 40 hours to, and there's still plenty more in store. But anyways, I don't want to get too much into the spoilers and specifics, and I'm sure I'll talk about this more in the future. My general thoughts of the Nemesis route were a little underwhelming. I think its biggest problem is that the common route ends with such a clear direction of what this story is about. We've got Kageaki on his quest to vanquish evil. He reaffirms his beliefs. He's been fighting his whole time on this path. I mean, the common route ends with a kick-ass instrumental version of the opening theme before we, fade to the end of the common route. That's the sort of cool stuff I always adore in any work. And then we get into this Nemesis route, and the whole focus shifts. It now becomes about the political situation of the country. It's about the Rokuhara government, and now it's about GHQ plays and how exactly we are going to get involved into that. In a vacuum, this stuff isn't bad. Like, Muramasa still has its great writing and fast pacing and incredible, action scenes and all of that. But we missed out on all of the stuff that the common route was working so hard to build up. It's like we've got this foundation. We have these themes, we have all the build up, and we just ignored it. We moved on to some new material, and I don't think that was necessary. As much as I enjoyed the Nemesis route, there was still a lot of doubts in the back of my head that's like, okay, man, I wish we were taking things in a different direction instead of following all of these story beats instead. Otori is a great character. She is a wonderful foil to Kageaki, and we really get to explore more of his philosophies and more of his mindsets about his mission in life with the way of the sword and the law of balance and all of that. Still, I was kind of hoping for something more focused in the Nemesis route. Also, and of course, talking about the Nemesis route, I have to go into all of the choices that this route gives you. Oh my god. Look.
Oh yeah.
There are choices all throughout the common route of Muramasa, and most of them are fine, they're great, but for whatever reason, when we get into the Nemesis route, suddenly you have to micromanage every step of every fight. I don't know why. And you have to micromanage them and get them exactly right, or else you get shuttled off to an immediate game over. And you gotta reload the choice.
This is the test. This is the test. The whole common route, what has prepared you, told you all about martial arts, about fighting with Musha. So now is the test, and you take the test, okay? Let's see, will you pass?
Exactly. There's one fight where it comes to a point where it's like, okay, he thinks to himself, for this next part, should I go on the offense or defense? And you gotta ask, and it's like, okay, well, fine, I get it. That's important. So it's like, I go on the defense. It's like, okay, should I try deflecting the attack or dodge out of the way? And I'm like, okay, are you really making me do this? So it's like, well, I'll dodge out of the way. It's like, what direction should I dodge? It's like, up, down, left, right. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, and especially, if I remember that specific sequence, it's not as you see the results of your choices, you need to pre-plan everything ahead of time, and then you see it played out.
And it's not like you can just say, oh, well, they're giving me more choices, I must be on the right path. Because if you pick some of those other options, you get plenty of choices that branch out, that really dig into the details just like that. So I'm like, I don't even know if I'm doing stuff right. This is not a good change, man. I don't know why we had all of these great fight scenes with the incredible back and forth and all of the attention to detail that really focused on all of the important parts. It's not like they just info dumped this stuff on you and broke up the flow. They're great fights. I really love so many of Muramasa's fights. And yet, here we are in the Nemesis route, where suddenly we have to pretend this is a video game. And we just gotta burn through all of your quarters to eat up your lives.
Yeah, you better instant block this attack, okay?
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
If you go back to when I talked about Muramasa, that one fight in which you had to pre-plan all your maneuvers and your both defense and that was something, okay? That was something.
This route also had that infamous adventure game segment that everyone loves to meme on about Muramasa.
Right.
I didn't even think that was that bad. like sure,
Honestly,
I wouldn't say it
neither
was
did I.
good. Like the story definitely would have been better without that being a whole silly adventure game part. But I mean, it's like, okay, whatever, you can get through it just fine. I mean, to be honest, looking at the fights and all of the choices, that was annoying, yes, but I'm not going to hold it that much against Muramasa. But the big picture stuff of this route really veering into a different direction and kind of losing focus, and to a certain degree, Kakiaki kind of losing his spot as main character. All of that dragged down my experience with Muramasa more than I would have preferred. All in all, though, I still very much enjoy this title. It's still great. There's still so much I can praise about it. I'm enjoying my time with it immensely.
Honestly, going back from memory of how I remember Muramasa, I remember Nemesis was probably the route I liked the least. But I feel overall I still consider it good, and I definitely love Muramasa, so I'm biased out there, okay?
Oh, yeah. Also, I don't think Nemesis should be done first. I'm pretty sure it's better for a reading experience for your first route to go to hero route. I mean, Nemesis still works, but so far I think that just ties in a lot better.
I mean, yeah, insofar you look into guide, I played blind, and yes, but I get your point.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very much enjoying it, very much enjoying all the characters, and I will definitely see you next Readport with hopefully the finale of me completely finishing this title.
I'll be eagerly awaiting your opinion on who's the best girl, and there's only one correct answer.
Oh, I could tell you that now. It's Dangan Liger herself, Chachamaru!
Chachamaru is so fucking amazing. Oh, man.
Yeah,
I loved her so much. Holy crap.
All right. Well, that's enough out of this episode, though. We will definitely see you with all sorts more amazing visual novel information next time.
Yeah. Thanks all our listeners for listening in, and please spam the comments with your love for Muramasa. VNture out.
VNture out.